My fiance, male 33, and I, female 29, are getting married soon. So far, wedding planning has been going all right, except for a few things he and I argued about, like the venue and flower girl. Now we've been arguing about my wedding dress. This might sound cliché, but I've dreamed of having my own beautiful wedding dress ever since I was young. I can afford it, but my soon-to-be husband thinks it's not okay to waste a couple of thousands on a dress that I'm only going to wear once. Yes, he might have a point there, but for one, this is the typical price for wedding dresses, and two, because it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, why not make sure it's special? Soon-to-be husband still wasn't convinced and suggested I rented a dress instead of buying one. But then he started saying that I'm being irresponsible with money and brought up how much money I've already put aside to rent a face. He means makeup, and wear fake hair. He means extension. Still, I have this vision of what I want to look like, so to speak, at my wedding, and I think that it's my right as a bride. I purchased the dress, but a day later, I found out that it was missing from my closet. I freaked out, but he told me he returned it and got the money back. I was shocked. I asked him why he did that, and he said he thought the dress was ridiculously expensive and that it was wasting money, and again suggested I go rent one. I blew up and went off on him, which I've never done before. He literally took a few steps back and told me to calm down. I said he had no right. I'm paying for the damn dress. He got upset and said that there's no I'm paying for it myself in marriage, and that my attitude is setting the tone for what type of dynamic we'll have in our marriage. He kept on saying I must expect him to pay for everything while I keep my money or spend it irresponsibly, but I never tell him how to spend his money. I responded that he gets zero say in how I spend my money whatsoever. He told me that I should grow up and stop with the dream wedding dress cliché, then stormed off to call his mom, who chewed me out, saying she won't let me ruin her son's financial stability with how I dealt with money generally. She too urged me to rent a dress or buy a cheaper one, way cheaper than the one I picked, and move on, but I declined. And yes, he still has the money and says he'll give it back once we agree to a solution. So, am I the idiot? Holy smokes, he literally stole from you and then called his mom to tell you he was right? Time to cancel the wedding. Girl, run, you don't want this. Consider it a bullet dodged. Let me put this delicately. Things are not going all right with your wedding planning. You gave many examples of your soon-to-be husband not respecting you, belittling and undermining your wants for your wedding, controlling how you should spend your money, and running to mommy when he doesn't get his way. You're lucky you're not married yet. I suggest counseling to make sure you're compatible, and will be happy spending your life with this pile of red flags. Agree, not the idiot, but please hold, pause, and press the button. You need to look into some serious red flags more closely before you get married. I'm begging you, look into this more deeply. Do not sweep this under the rug. I know we're taught that marriage is the end-all and be-all for women, but please do not rush into past indicators that this marriage might be a very pretty trap for you. This is a huge red flag and an indication of how future disagreements are going to go. I personally think wedding dresses and large weddings in general are a huge waste of money. Of course, people are entitled to that opinion. However, you don't settle an argument by returning a wedding dress and then keeping the money hostage until the said person agrees. Marriage and finances are about finding common ground. Also, a grown man should not be crying to mummy to settle a dispute. Maybe the theme of the wedding is red flags. The bridesmaids will wear red, the groom will have a red suit, and the aisle will be lined with increasingly big red flags until she reaches the altar, which is just a tent made of one giant red flag. I think she should call the cops on the man who stole several $1,000s from her instead of marrying him, but that's just me. My husband, 26, and I, 23 female, are currently expecting our first baby in July and are very excited. Unfortunately, my brother and sister-in-law, both 38, have struggled to conceive for a long time and decided to give up and be pet parents. Ever since I got pregnant, my sister-in-law has been up my butt. She's always telling me what I should and shouldn't do, what I should and shouldn't wear, can and can't eat. I came home one day and she was going through my clothes and picking out the inappropriate clothes for a mom. She's also attempted to clean out my fridge of any non-safe foods and convinced us to give up our cats for adoption because they could kill the baby. The big issue came to a head when I was at my mom's house the other day, and she made me a vegan bologna sandwich. I don't eat meat, and when you're this pregnant, you try to satiate what craving as best you can. It was perfectly safe. Suddenly, my sister-in-law slapped the sandwich out of my hand and started screaming at me about how bad cold-cut lunch meats are while pregnant, asking if I was an idiot. I just looked at her and lost my temper. Just because she's infertile doesn't mean she's living vicariously through my pregnancy and can control everything I do. She told me she was just looking out for her little niece and that I was a terrible person for saying that to her. My brother told me I know she's a lot to deal with, but I was out of line saying that to her. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Mentioning her fertility was a low blow, but she does need a reality check. It's not her pregnancy, it's not her baby, and she has no right to say anything about it. You set the boundaries, and if she doesn't respect them, she must deal with the consequences. I would honestly consider cutting ties with her completely for the duration of the pregnancy because there are red flags everywhere here, and her behavior could worsen. OP, go ahead now and drop the news that she doesn't get to be in the delivery room. Make sure you tell the labor and delivery nurses as well so they'll have your back. Actually, please don't tell anyone you're in labor and at the hospital until it's done. She is acting borderline psychotic, so I try to make sure you document her crazy because she seems like the type of sister-in-law to try to steal your child and call CPS on you constantly to try to get them to give your baby to her. Tell your brother to check his wife or they'll both be completely cut off from your family. She's unhinged and that crap needs to stop now. Change your locks, ban her from your home, and don't let her anywhere near your birth or child. She has serious boundary issues and displays violent tendencies. I strongly suggest that she needs immediate help to deal with this. Your brother needs to get his wife help and tell her to back off. While you may have been harsh, she's not your keeper or doctor. My daughter, Teen, always had trouble with her hair. It's extremely curly, dry, and prone to tangles and split ends. It's beautiful, but it was always painful for her. When her hair was long enough, when she was 7 or 8, I began giving her a half-up ponytail. I liked that style and gave it to her every day. She initially didn't mind much, but she resented it over time. Since she was 10, she would beg me to let her wear her hair down repeatedly, and I would tell her that she didn't have the right hair type because it would puff up whenever she let her hair down. So she would ask me to get her hair straightened with every chance she got. A year later, she came up to me with various ideas, where she would wear hair clips and headbands so the hair wouldn't puff up. I initially let her do it, but it made her look unkempt, so I stopped letting her. Instead, I offered a few variations of her hairstyle, such as twisting the top of her hair before tying it, which she took. Then she got a bob cut. She began styling it as having a side bang and having a hair clip. I let her keep it, but a month later, I began to insist that she let me give her the half-up ponytail, to which she got upset but eventually gave in. At some point, she ditched the hairstyle and tied her hair up in a ponytail. She only let me do it occasionally. Over the past few years, she grew her hair out to her waist, the longest it's been, and began experimenting with a variety of hairstyles like pigtails, half-up pigtails, and half buns. All of these looked good on her, but they made her look childish. Whenever I offered to give her the half-up ponytail, she would insist on doing it in a full bun instead, which was beautiful on her. She's been asking for a pixie cut, but I didn't want to get her one since I was scared that it would puff up. So I told her that she could get a layered shoulder-length hair instead, to which she complied. After that, she began wearing her hair down, sometimes tying it up in a ponytail, and while it no longer hurts her and it looks good on her, her hair is still messy and curly. Finally, however, I stopped styling it and just let her do whatever she wanted. Today, I invited guests over. I had my daughter get ready. Everything was going well until I asked her to let me brush her hair. She asked me not to give her that hairstyle, and I told her she was going to. I told her that I wouldn't let her strut around with her messy hair like that. She got upset and said that she didn't like it and tried to offer some other suggestions, such as a pigtail or a bun, but I told her that the pigtail made her look childish and I didn't have time to give her a bun, and the fact that she rarely ever wears it anymore. As I was styling her hair, she was on the verge of tears, and during the entire visit she gave me the cold shoulder. I'm starting to wonder if I took it too far, but I just wanted to look presentable. So, am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Curly hair isn't messy. Please stop trying to control how your teenage daughter styles her hair. It sounds like she enjoys her hair, and all you do is put her down about it. I wouldn't be surprised to find out if she has self-image issues or lacks confidence because of your parenting. Let her live her life. It's her hair and it's not hurting anyone. It's your daughter's body. She is not a doll for you to dress up. Wow, you are the idiot, like the biggest idiot. So during her childhood, instead of putting in the effort to learn how to care for curly hair, you just picked the easiest hairstyle for you, even though she ended up not liking it. That's just laziness on your part. Now she's a teenager, 2 years away from being an adult, and you think you still have the right to force her to wear her hair the way you want? You are a controlling helicopter parent. Let her do what she wants with her hair. She's going to anyway in 2 years when you'll have no say anymore. It would help if you were encouraging her to try all different hairstyles to find what she likes. She will likely never forget the amount of control you tried to have over her. It may not seem like a big deal to you, but it will to her, and will stick with her well into her adult years. You really couldn't take your daughter to a salon and talk with a professional about how to best take care of and manage her hair? All I could think reading this was, stop dry brushing it and learn how to take care of it. My 23 female sister, 27, got engaged about 2 years ago. I don't hate her. We were never the closest sisters due to our age difference, but we didn't hate each other. Her fiance, now husband, is a great man. I'm really happy for them. So fast forward to the wedding ceremony when the priest finally said, "Are there any objections?" I stood up and said, "I object," long pause, because this couple is way too cute for each other. I really just said it as a joke. I thought it was something we could all laugh about at reception, but I could visibly see the colour drain off my sister's face when I stood up. After finishing my little joke, I didn't really get any laughs. My sister looked away, pretending that she didn't care, but I knew she probably did. I sat down and the ceremony continued. At the reception, I went to my sister and congratulated her, and she absolutely blew up. She told me my joke wasn't funny and that I ruined her mood, her happiness, and her special day. I was shocked. It literally wasn't even that big of a deal. I was joking, not actually objecting. I argued back with those points and she just walked away from me. This morning, I woke up with tons of notifications from my family members saying I'm an idiot for doing that. But I think everyone was just overreacting. It was truly just a joke. So, am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Way to cause a scene on their big day. How desperate for attention are you? It literally wasn't even that big of a deal. Ah, the narcissist's words since time immemorial. You made her wedding about you. Then you interrupted the solemnity of a wedding service for a bad joke. Minister here, it gets worse. In some places, if someone objects during the ceremony, you're required to stop and investigate, even if it's a joke. Some officiants won't even continue the ceremony that day. OP could have literally derailed the whole wedding. You could have worked the whole objection due to the couple being cute into a speech about the couple into a much sweeter way. But no, you stood in front of everyone and acted like an idiot. You're a grown adult. You're 23. Act like it. You don't do this stupid stuff at a wedding, especially in the middle of the vows. Apologize and give her and her husband space because you done messed up majorly. My parents divorced when I was a baby. When my dad was single, he made sure we had stuff we did together. When I was 9, he met Kirsten and her 3 kids who were younger than me. Once they started seriously dating, he stopped making an effort to do stuff just us. Once they moved in, I couldn't even get in the car with him for a drive, just the 2 of us. I asked for some us time. He would say we could have us time with the other kids included or with everyone. I spent more time alone with Kirsten than I did with him, and that wasn't what I wanted. He spent a long time with each of her kids doing stuff like driving them places or watching a game, just him and one of them throwing a ball around. None of that extended to me for that one-on-one time. So I checked out while over there mostly, except for the times I would try to get some time with my dad. It was even more strained when they had 2 kids together because it was more people for him to be with. Of course, they get one-on-one time with him. I admit I resent Kirsten and the kids because he focuses more on them. He'll make time for them but not for me. He's shown up to more of her kids' stuff than mine since he started dating her. Kirsten doesn't like how checked out I am, she told me before, just to enjoy time with my family. I told her I didn't want them to be my family if it meant my dad had no time for me, but he never had that issue with them. She told me that could change if I moved in with them full time. I told her to buzz off and that I wouldn't leave my mom for someone who couldn't be bothered to make time for me. She said her kids all looked up to me and they deserve for me to treat them like siblings. I told her that she should have chosen a partner who didn't neglect his relationship with his kid in favor of hers. After that, I got into a ton of trouble. Kirsten and Dad told me to respect my mother at their house and told me I had no right to speak that way to anyone. A few months ago, I asked Dad if he would go to laser tag with me since I won 2 tickets. He said sure, then said he could buy tickets for the other kids. I told him to forget it and that I'd go with a friend. We fought, I stopped going to his house as much. Mom went to court to make it okay. They're planning their first family vacation for this summer, and they asked me to go with them. I've said no about 10 times now. They told me I should be with my family again, that I hardly ever see them now. I said it's how I prefer it. They said the kids had been excited about me being there and seeing me again, and now I would crush them. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Speaking as somebody from a family of divorce, what your dad did was wrong. You specifically asked to spend time with him one-on-one and he refused to do so. Adding to that, they said the kids had been excited about me being there and seeing me again, and now I was going to crush them. That's messed up. That's putting you in the middle and is completely unfair to you. I'm sorry you have to deal with this. Kirsten is an idiot too, but to a lesser extent. Instead of listening to what you said in an attempt to understand where you're coming from, she got mad and punished you. But let's also be real here. There's a very, very good chance the main reason she wants you on that family vacation is so you'll provide free babysitting for her gazillion other children. But don't forget the part where she wants you to move in with them full-time on the off chance that your dad magically decides to change. That sure sounds like more free babysitting to me. You're not wrong. They are trying to override your valid decisions with manipulative tactics. Don't let them continue to do this. He is not offering more time with him. He is offering you time with children you have no desire to spend time with, which makes no sense.